For nearly 3 decades, the Berlin Wall carved its way through a wounded city, watched by guards who had orders to shoot. Its fall always felt like something that belonged in a fantasy rather than reality. Yet on the night of 9th November 1989, it began to crumble because of a single sentence spoken by a tired official. Günter Schabowski, an East German spokesman, arrived at a routine press conference, clutching a sheet of notes he hadn't actually read. When a journalist pressed him on when new travel rules would take effect, Schabowski fumbled, blinked at the paper, and muttered the line that detonated everything. "As far as I know, immediately." It wasn't true. The changes weren't meant to start until the next day, with strict controls. But East German television carried his words without hesitation. Across the country, people heard one message: the wall is open. Within minutes, crowds surged towards the checkpoints. Border guards had received no orders. Radios fell silent. Commanders panicked. And in the middle of this tidal wave, ordinary soldiers faced a decision that would define the century: fire on their own neighbours or let them through. One gate opened, then another, then all of them. Berlin erupted into a night of champagne, tears and disbelief. And the wall that had survived decades of Cold War tension collapsed because one exhausted man misread a note. Egypt's Valley of the Kings, 1922. A place long deemed exhausted, stripped bare by looters over thousands of years. Archaeologist Howard Carter had been digging for 5 punishing seasons. His sponsor was ready to abandon the project. And then something trivial happened. A boy delivering water put down his jar. His heel scraped the sand. It struck stone. He brushed it away, curious. A carved step emerged. Carter sprinted over, and the excavation began. Step after step descended into darkness, ending at a sealed doorway. Behind it lay the tomb of Tutankhamun, a ruler almost forgotten, yet whose resting place had remained untouched for over 3 millennia. Why untouched? Because labourers building a neighbouring tomb centuries earlier dumped rubble directly over the entrance. Their discarded debris buried Tut so completely that every grave robber for 3,000 years walked right past. When Carter finally looked inside, he whispered the words now etched into history. Wonderful things. Over 5,000 treasures glimmered in the lamplight, including the golden mask now known across the world. All of it survived because of a thirsty boy's wandering foot, and some ancient builders who couldn't be bothered to clear up their own mess. In 1588, King Philip II of Spain launched the Armada, a steel-clad colossus of 130 ships and 30,000 men, intended to crush England and dethrone Elizabeth I. The English navy was outmatched in numbers, and the Channel braced for invasion. But superiority on paper isn't superiority in motion. English ships were lighter and faster. Their guns fired further, and at Calais, they unleashed a desperate trick: fire ships. Old vessels turned into drifting pyres, drifting silently towards the anchored armada. Panic spread. Anchors were cut, order dissolved. The Spaniards fled up the North Sea, forced to circle Scotland and Ireland to return home. And then nature intervened. A violent Atlantic storm rose without warning. Spanish ships, now anchorless and exhausted, were hurled against cliffs and reefs. Thousands drowned. A third of the fleet was lost. England celebrated, convinced heaven itself had intervened. Minted medals declared, God blew and they were scattered. Whether divine or meteorological, the storm struck at the exact moment Spain couldn't survive it, and an empire's ambitions drowned in a night of wind. London, 1928. In a laboratory famous for chaos, Alexander Fleming returned from holiday to find a stack of dishes he'd forgotten to clean. One held a patch of blue-green mould, as ordinary as old bread, yet something was wrong with the bacteria around it. They were gone, erased. Fleming realised the mould was releasing a substance that annihilated microbes. He called it, rather modestly, mould juice. Later, it became penicillin. Its discovery was an accident created by several coincidences: Fleming's untidy habits, a drifting mould spore from a nearby lab, and a rare cool spell in London that allowed the fungus to grow before the bacteria overtook it. A few degrees warmer, and the clue would have vanished. Penicillin would not become a true medicine until the Second World War forced scientists to mass produce it. But when they did, it transformed medicine. Infections that once meant death became treatable, all because one petri dish was left in the wrong place at exactly the right time. Egypt, 1799. French troops were demolishing an old wall near the town of Rashid. Hammering away under the sun, one soldier uncovered a black slab carved with 3 layers of writing. One was Greek. The other 2 were unknown. It was the Rosetta Stone, carved in 196 BC, with the same message repeated in 3 scripts: Greek, Demotic, and the elegant symbols we now call hieroglyphs. It had been hidden inside that wall for over 15 centuries, surviving conquest, earthquakes, and pure chance. Remarkably, scholars later realized that more than 24 similar stones once existed. This one survived, this one was found, and this one cracked the code. Without it, ancient Egypt would still be a silent realm of stone statues and sealed tombs. Instead, an accidental discovery by tired soldiers opened an entire civilization. Most of human history disappeared. Scrolls rotted, libraries burned, civilizations rose and fell, leaving behind fragments that survived purely by accident. The Dead Sea Scrolls were uncovered in 1946 because a shepherd searching for a lost goat threw a stone into a cave to pass the time. The stone shattered a jar. Inside were texts sealed away for 2,000 years. If the goat hadn't strayed, if the rock had bounced a different way, we might still be missing them. Many ancient authors survive only because one copy of their work lay forgotten in a remote monastery, untouched by war or fire through sheer luck. What we know of antiquity isn't a full library. It is the handful of pages that escape the flames. Sarajevo, 28th June 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was touring the city under heavy security. Several assassins lay in wait. The first attack failed completely. A bomb bounced off the Archduke's car and exploded beneath the one behind it. Shaken but determined, Franz Ferdinand continued with his visit. The route to the hospital was altered, but the driver didn't know the new directions. He turned into a side street, stalled the engine, and tried to reverse. Standing a few paces away was Gavrilo Princip, one of the failed assassins. He had given up earlier and wandered off to buy food. And now the Archduke's car had stopped directly in front of him. Princip fired 2 shots. Those bullets erased more than 2 lives. They triggered alliances, ultimatums, mobilizations. Within weeks, Europe collapsed into the First World War, and the 20th century spiraled into a shape from which it has never fully recovered. An entire world transformed because of a single wrong turn. History isn't just shaped by empires or great leaders. Sometimes it turns on a stumble, a storm, a mistake, or a wandering goat. Small moments, massive consequences.